So we have these times of the year, like vacations and summer, holidays, and then even weekends where there's a potential for more intimate interaction with other people, and there's also the potential for more tension and conflict. The time we have conflict can lead to connection, and connection heals. Connection's powerful, but we don't always feel that way in the moment. Now, having a game plan for going into these interactions will decrease your anxiety. Anxiety decreases with a plan. I'm going to give you a game plan to interact during this season that we're in right now, which is the holidays, but during any season when you're going to have a chance to connect with people at in a different way, more one-on-one conversation. So at work, about holidays, you got parties, interactions that you don't have during the regular work week normally, and you can make the most of those times. So I'm going to give you 3 tools that will instantly help you connect with others, and even in the most difficult and challenging of relationships. So as you think about the family members and coworkers that you struggle with the most, this content's going to help with you. Going to help you with those interactions. And you're also going to get in this episode my 4 top questions to ask other people in order to connect with them, and why I've chosen those specific questions. So welcome to the Decide Your Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Adam Gragg. I'm a coach and a family therapist. I'm the founder of Decide Your Legacy. We help leaders and their teams to face the issues that they're avoiding, to take productive action so they can take productive action that sticks and make progress. And just so you know, my definition of leadership is that everyone's a leader because you have influence, and you're a neighbor, you're a friend, you're a family member, you have a chance to have an influence. So risk that I've taken recently, and I share this because I like to do this every episode, because I don't think much is more powerful to your mental health than getting out of your comfort zone and not playing it safe, and much is more helpful than taking a risk, doing something healthy, a good risk. So what I did is I had a hard conversation. Sometimes when I have hard conversations with clients, I think I'm going to lose this client. I'm going to offend them. They're not going to want that. They're going to go and find somebody else who's not going to have hard conversations with them. But I haven't found that to be the case. Historically, I have on occasion, but it's rare. Generally, they respect you and connect with you better when you're willing to have the courageous conversations with them. So with all the clients that I have, I actually try and keep track of the courageous conversations that I've had. It motivates me because whatever you track grows, and I know that impacts my connection with people. So the brain naturally will go to safety. It will do that when you're going to potentially have a difficult conversation, when you're going to connect with somebody. It'll go towards avoidance or minimization or procrastination or justification or excuses, because that your ego, your psyche is going to keep you from getting hurt again. And that's its job. But it's not true. It's lying to you. It's lying to you based on the past. It's giving you fear in order to try and keep you from loving other people where you might actually get hurt. But you know what? You can make some changes to that, and the quality of your life will get much better, because I find the quality of my life is directly connected to my willingness to have courageous conversations. So the first tool that will instantly transform your connection with others. And as you think about going into the holidays, you think about going into these holiday parties, you think about leading your team and having a connection with your team, or as a parent, you leaders out there, remember the first tool is to say that I was wrong, to apologize, to admit that you've messed up. Now, why does that help connection? Because you're showing that you're human. You're showing that you're willing to look at yourself. You have self-awareness. People trust that. They trust it when you say that you're sorry because you hurt somebody. And even if you didn't do it intentionally, you're still owning the fact that you did do something that was harmful in a way to that person. You're building trust. Apologies start to show that you value the relationship more than the benefits that you get in life from external sources. You value connection more than any one thing, because you're willing to go first and apologize. You're willing to say that you're sorry. Now, there's a risk to it because you could experience anger. That's one of the responses you get from people when you apologize. You could experience a form of of blame. I mean, like you could experience some other consequences. I mean, in some cases, by apologizing, you could get fired. I get it. There's reasons that it can be scary, but the benefit is tremendous. Now, I do suggest a lot of times with certain issues you want to apologize for relationally, talk to some really trustworthy friends before you make the apology. Get their feedback on it. People that you know are willing to be honest with you, not those that are going to add fuel to the fire, not those that are going to share that you got to avoid it. Not those aren't really people who are trying to help you. People who are true friends who are trying to help you navigate a difficult situation. And when you apologize, remember that you can have small toes, not be offended by everything that happens. Like small toes keep you from being offended. It goes in both ways. I mean, if you want to have healthy relationships, be willing to say you're wrong and also be willing to have small toes so you're not offended so easily. And don't take everything so personally. I noticed that in healthy relationships that I have, there's a sense of lightness. There's a sense of quick forgiveness. There's a sense of admittance of being wrong. There's a sense of we're going to make mistakes in grace for the other person. So the second tool that you can put in your tool belt as a plan, as a game plan going into these interactions, is to be the person willing to go first. Leaders go first. They're willing to say, I was wrong, first of all, but willing to go first in those interactions. Over Thanksgiving holiday this year, I decided while everybody was eating dinner to ask a question. And I'm kind of known for asking some questions. And I could see one of my first cousins a spouse of a first cousin, I could see him roll his eyes. I didn't say anything about it because it didn't bother me really, because I knew I would get some resistance. But the question was, what is something you're thankful for that would surprise people? So it's a pretty basic question. But I knew I would get some resistance because that just is what happens. And if you are going to have big toes, you're not going to be willing, most likely, to go first, to make it not about you, but about the group and about helping other people, which you'll be okay with somebody being irritated by you going first. But that will help you because you're the one who is being curious. You're the one who's asking the hard and the positive questions. You're the one who's willing to encourage everybody to play a game. You're the one who's willing to encourage everyone on your team to do some icebreaker activity when that hasn't actually happened often in the past. You're the one who's willing to be embarrassed for the sake of the growth of the group. That's what I mean. That's a real positive thing. And you'll have people drawn to you because they're seeing that you, Troy and Steve and Jennifer and Melissa are willing to lead. That's the real key right there. So the third thing you can do, and I'm going to elaborate on this some, is in these interactions, be the person who adds value. So we want to be around people who add value to our lives. We don't want to be around people who add drama to our lives. We don't want to be around people who invalidate us. We don't want to be around people who drain us. And sometimes those people live in our household and they're related to us. And that's okay. And that's everybody that isn't a hermit that lives alone all the time. But we can be the person who not only is willing to apologize and go first, but we're also willing to add value consistently to those people we interact with on a regular basis. Doesn't mean we're not having conflict. Doesn't mean we're always positive and we never have concerns, but we're intentionally trying to inspire and encourage. So the way to invalidate people, and most of you probably know what this is, although you may not stop doing it even though you know what it is, but doing things that numb, isolating, avoiding. So you being on your computer when you could actually interact with somebody, you being on your phone when you could interact with somebody, one of your kids or a friend or a coworker or somebody you're leading at a team meeting, that's going to cause a problem. Watching TV when you could have an interaction with somebody, that could be a problem. But you have to be honest with yourself, just like you would with self-journaling. You got to be honest about it and say, like, I'm watching this football game and avoiding interacting with the coworkers. My kids. I'm on my phone and I'm avoiding interacting with my coworkers. Got to be honest. So another way, or some other ways to add value, is to listen and look at people and then express interest. Sometimes You have to manufacture emotion to express excitement. You want to, number 2, resist defending yourself. Number 3, show more emotion than you normally would. That can be validating to people. Making a list of ways to encourage people, what you admire about them, and sharing it with them. Letting go of a formulated response and interaction so you can hear and listen and then craft your response based on what you hear from them, or ask further questions based on what you hear. But another way to add value is to get to know people. So if you want to go into this holiday season, you want to go to this work party and get to know people better, I got 4 great questions that you can ask. And I like these. I'm going to share with you why I like them. So number 1, first question is, what are times in your life, and you can preempt a question. Before I go into it, you can preempt and say, hey, I want to ask you a question. It's been a helpful one for me, or I'm just really curious about this, or I'm doing an experiment. You can make it so that it's not weird, because you're just trying to get to know them. So the first question is, what are times in your life you felt most fulfilled? All right. So you can share when you have in your life, but you're getting to know when they've felt most fulfilled. And the reason I like that is because it gives you other information about a person and what inspires them and what motivates them. And you can tap into that and use it to actually encourage them. And they're going to be excited to answer that question if they're in a good place and engaging, because they'll share, I was really fulfilled. And at this moment in my life, when I took a risk and reached out to people more, or when I ran the marathon, or when I, was writing a book. But it gives them, it's really inspiring to see people light up when they answer that question. Love it. So second question is, who in your life have you felt the most love from? So may not be, maybe kind of an awkward question in some settings, but you're tapping into the connections that people have felt. So it could also, a variant could be, who in your life just gave you the most encouragement in your life? I think that's a safer way to ask it at work. Who gave you the most encouragement? And then they share their grandfather did, but it's tapping in to their relationships. And the third question here is, I love this one for some reason, and I've gotten the most interesting answers from this question, is, have you ever almost died? And if you have, or if you haven't, what was the closest you've come? And so, and again, that's all you share with them. You don't want to give them the answer, because they may say, what do you mean? What do you mean? And well, I'll ask the question again. Have you ever almost died? Or what's the closest you've come? And they may share something that comes up for them as you let them sit with the question, which silence is a great thing in interaction. It means somebody's thinking, and they may say, well, I had an appendicitis and it was so painful, I felt like I was going to die, or I was almost in a car accident, or they could even say that something that would shock you. They drowned and were brought back to life. Who knows? But then the fourth question is, what was your house or neighborhood like growing up? What was your house or neighborhood like growing up? The funny thing for me as I answered that is, I had a Greek family that lived next door to us. And yes, I have been to a real live big fat Greek wedding when I was a kid. So it was really cool. And that's when I realized that Greek food is actually really stinking good, because I can't remember when I'd ever tried it before then. So, and again, the healthier somebody gets, the more open they get. That's what I've seen with people. So if you don't like answering questions right now, I just challenge you to say to yourself, what is this resistance all about? What am I not wanting to share? And how would it benefit me if I started to open up more? You lead the way. And you can lead the way with these 3 actions, and making your connections and building your connections, saying you were wrong, going first, and adding value to the interactions. So I went this last weekend to Arkansas, and it was a 4-hour drive from Wichita. I went and ran in a 10K trail race with one of my closest friends, Dave. Now, this was a great time of connection for me. But interestingly enough, I felt very negative on the car ride out there, really discouraged about my life. And I was stuck. And I got a good night's sleep. I ran in the race. On the way back from Arkansas, we went to a cool museum in Bentonville. We went to a great coffee shop in Arkansas called Onyx, which was really sweet. And the museum was called Crystal Bridges. It's a really cool place. And we had a lot of great conversation on the way back. We listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, actually, on a really cool episode. But I felt so energized on Sunday. We got back really late on Saturday. I felt so energized, but it was because of the connection that we had on that trip. And I need more of that. You need more of that. it's more valuable than money. It's more valuable than anything you could ever achieve. Connection will change your life. So build connections, build deeper connections today. I mean, that's what I want for you. So what insight did you gain from listening to this episode of the Decide Your Legacy podcast? What insight did you gain, and what are you going to apply? What action are you going to take by the end of the day? So 80% of transformation is action. Only 20% is insight. You gained insight today. Real courage and bravery comes from you applying what you've learned. So to decide means that you're eliminating other options. Your legacy is the impact that your life has on other people. I want you to make one decision for me today, and that's to subscribe to Shatterproof Your Self-Light. It will help you build the foundation of confidence that will make interacting easier for you. It'll inspire you. It's a 4-page worksheet and a brief video. There's no cost. Go through it, fill it out. It's going to really impact your life. So hit the link and subscribe. There's no positive change until you decide to change. You decide your legacy. You can decide today. So I want to close the way I always do. Live the life today you want to be remembered for 10 years after you're gone. You decide your legacy, nobody else. I appreciate you greatly, and I'll see you next time.